This is Brent Morris from Anderson Sales and Service. Come in and take advantage of some of the great bonus bucks on the ATVs and motorcycles Honda has going on right now. From motorcycles to mower, we've got you covered. Give us a call at 812-273-4262 and like us on Facebook.
Hello, this is Debbie Crawford with Southern Outdoors, and I have driven to Southern Indiana where we're going to meet with Brent Leach here. He actually has taken a childhood passion for turkey hunting to a whole new level, and he's started his own business, and now it's a family business. So, Brent, tell us what you're actually doing here with these.
Well, as you said, it started off as childhood. Family was brought up hunting, fishing. It's come from Trimble County and Planet Hoosier. Get that out there first, too. But that's pretty much all there was to do. If you didn't catch it or kill it, you didn't eat sometimes.
That's
so
right.
That's how we was brought up. It kept the family together. Turkey season, we was actually allowed to start hunting half of Trimble County in 89 or 90.
One side of 421 could hunt turkeys, and the other side couldn't.
So after 2 years, it opened it up to the whole county, and it lit a fire in me. And I had a great uncle that had a big influence in it, had a big influence in a lot of these calls and the design in them. And it's took me to building these, to making them. I got involved in some competition calling. Got lucky enough in 2008 to win the Indiana State. Won it again in 2009. Won it again in 2011. What that's done is it qualified me to call the Grand Nationals.
Right.
Got to go down to Tennessee, get up on the big stage with all the guys you see on TV and call with them. 2011, I actually tied Mitchell Johnson to make the cut. They take 12 callers out of the original 46 to make the cut. I called for 12. He beat me in a call off. He got to go. I didn't. That's the closest I got. But still, it was a lot of good experience. Got to meet a lot of good people. Like I said, it's kind of what started all this. Was on a couple of staffs, and I met a good friend of mine up in Pennsylvania one time. Kind of showed me how to make some mouth calls and stuff, and come home and decided it was something we could do ourselves and keep it as a family thing. And
now, how long ago was that you started making the mouth calls?
Everything we got here come along in 2009 is when it became the internet. Started the internet, started the sales and all that. And like we was talking about with the calls, one thing on the pot call, well, I said my great uncle had a lot to do with this. He had trouble. He ran his hand in a square hay baler, messed his hand up. So he had a hard time gripping around pot. What we ended up doing when I met with the gentleman that turns my pots for me, these come all the way from Pennsylvania. He had several different styles. I said, I need something that you can grip. So he had a 14-sided pot. I said, okay, that's great. I said, be nice if it had something on the side. He came up with the rings. So now, not only is it 14-sided,
gives you more grip,
but it's got rings. When that sets in your hands, it's not going nowhere. It can be wet, cold, slick morning, it's going to stay there.
Well, I like it too because I've got small hands. So when I try to hold one, it's hard for me to grip it and keep it still. I usually have to put it against me to do it. But with this one, I don't have to. I can actually hold it in my hand and not move.
These are actually made out of sycamore. I have some coming. They're not ready yet. We're still messing with the soundboard, the placement and stuff in them. It's going to be cherry, so that's something
that'll be
coming.
pretty.
Yeah, a little more, something different. A lot of people are scared of the sycamore. There's no need to be scared. They're right out of the pack. This is an aluminum. It
that has a
rolls
nice
over and
sound.
calls, so.
That's a nice sound. And then, do you make the box ones also?
Yes, they're actually sent to us. I'm not going to lie to you. The same gentleman in Pennsylvania is the one that's come up with the design for us.
Right.
It's double logoed. Got it on the side and the top. What we actually build in-house, that I'm building, we glue the pots together.
Right.
We get the parts from him. I actually make the mouth calls.
Yes.
Every part of the mouth call we make here with the press, the tape cutter. Get my family involved with that. My daughter helps me out a lot. It doubles production time when she's down there with me. Drag the wife into it as well.
Well, that's really nice, though. But I mean, when you can sit down with a family member, especially your kids, whether it's at dinner or making something like this, they tell you all kinds of things.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes they do when they don't mean to. So
that's the good part, though.
That can definitely slip some info out of it.
Yes, I like that, though.
We got 7 different styles of mouth calls. Everybody's got a preference. Everybody's got a favorite. So there's 7 different styles. A couple of them have the same cut, but yet they're still made different.
Right.
For instance, Old Reliable and the Sweet Talker. It's an inverted V cut. Both of them are. This is a 2-reed, this is a 3-reed. Therefore, they're going to sound different. It takes
Right.
a little bit of different air as well. The Uproar, the Heyday, and the Vengeance are all modified shipwreck cuts. The Vengeance is a 2-reed, both reeds are latex. Heyday has a latex reed on top of it, and it has Prof under it. It's a whole lot more nasally.
I understand.
Whatever that word is I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Puts a different sound to it. And then Uproar is 3-reed. It's all 3 latex.
Right.
We have a ghost cut style. A lot of people do kiki run, late fall, turkey season. The poach are whistling to the mom's whistling at the hen. It's a 2.5 reed. A whole lot of your competition callers nowadays are yelping. They're yelping on the ghost cut. So I'll let that secret out.
Well, now, here's something. There are a lot of people that are starting to go hunting now that didn't when they were younger.
Correct.
And I know Tim Beck and I were talking before about how a lot of women are going hunting.
Correct.
And they don't understand the difference between
The different styles of cuts.
the cuts and
right.
what it makes it do and what it sounds like. So if you could kind of explain the difference in the cuts and what it actually creates.
What we can do is we'll run one of each, and I'll run them as I talk about it, if that's all
Well,
right.
we can do that in a few minutes. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
and we'll
great.
go over
That would be great.
And we
And
can sit
then
down with it. And
the
it's the same with the pots. I have 3 different. I have aluminum, I have it in glass,
Yes.
and we have it in slate.
Uh-huh.
The glass in the sycamore ones is bead blasted. Now what this means is that you don't have to surface it.
Right.
It's a hunter friendly. It's right out of the pack. It's ready to go. It's got a texture. You probably have a hard time seeing it on the camera. Most of a glass call you have to surface them.
right.
You got to start with the rough sandpaper, and then you work your way down to thin. This has got that on it right out of the pack.
That's nice. I like that.
The calls have a rollover yelp, the 2-tone. Everybody tries to get high and then low. The placement of the soundboard, they all have a glass soundboard in them. The distance there and the size, it's an easy call to run. So it makes it that much better for hunting especially.
Now you do something with your calls too here at the house. You don't just keep them all sitting out on the table or in a box. You put some in the refrigerator.
Yeah, that's the mouth call we was talking about. When you're using your mouth calls, a good way to preserve them is keep them cool. They slows down the bacteria growth between them.
Right.
Another tip I'm gonna show you, if I can get it out of there. Let me get a bigger one out here. I'll show you in the call. Plastic paper clips. I break them off.
So it will dry out
Yep,
inside.
you separate the reeds. If you don't put that in there, you throw it up the dashboard of your truck, it gets hot, they stick together, you're done.
Right.
So I keep them in the refrigerator, and I keep the little paper clips in between the reeds.
So
And then that keeps it.
and you can get these just about anywhere.
Walmart or anywhere.
Yeah.
Some people use toothpicks, which is fine, but you got to watch. You puncture it or tear the reed. So
I'd rather use paper clip.
Yeah, I file the
If
ends
I'm going
off
to pay
and-
for
Yeah.
a call, I don't want to mess it up with a.
So that's a little tip there in itself.
Yeah. Well, we're going to check out some of these calls in a minute, and Brent is going to actually show us how they all work and the different sounds that they make. So don't go away.
This is Brent Morris from Anderson Sales and Service. Come in and take advantage of some of the great bonus bucks on the ATVs and motorcycles Honda has going on right now. From motorcycles to mower, we've got you covered. Give us a call at 812-273-4262 and like us on Facebook.
So the first thing you're going to show us are the mouth calls and why you put them in the refrigerator.
Yep. Okay. So we put them in there, like I say, it helps preserve them and make them last a little longer. The other tip was if I can get them out of there, was the paper clips. I put those in it to keep the reeds separate. It also lets air get in between so bacteria doesn't grow in them.
So they'll dry out after you've
And they
used
dry
one.
out, exactly. You throw them up on the dash of the truck and they stick together, and you go to separate them and you tear them, and then you have to buy another call from me, which is good for me, but it's bad for you. So this is Vengeance. One of my favorite of the bunch I make. It's easy to blow. I'm not going to eat the paper clip, don't panic. Kind of get it wet before you pull it out there is a good idea too, because it will stick and you will tear the reed if you don't. It's a 2-reed shipwreck. You can do about anything on the majority of these calls. Some of them do have a specialty. I'll kind of talk about it as we go, but a plain yelp. Another thing about yelping, a lot of people do it different. Some people say oot, Some people say whelp. You read on the back a lot of the calls back 15 years ago, it told you to say chick. They call it huffing, which that's not a good thing in most people's ears, but they call it huffing the call. You're saying, you're just forcing air.
To me, that sounds more natural.
It'll cluck, it'll purr. Soft, you can get a little loud. Two reed, it's easier to talk when you don't have any mouth. Two reed, you don't want to really hammer them. You can, but
Now, you've been doing this since you were a kid in high school in Trimble County.
yes, ma'am.
And you not only ended up starting your own business, but you do all kinds of competitions.
Yes, it's slowed down now. Kids get older, so after a while the window was available for me to get out more. But I've called in Tennessee and Pennsylvania, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana.
Now, how many of those competitions have you won?
I've won or placed in all the states I've mentioned.
That's awesome.
So Indiana, I won the state champion in 08 and 09
Right.
and 2011. And then they haven't had one since then. And that qualified me to call in the Grand Nationals. I've been down there on the big stage 4 times. Got lucky there. Almost made the cut in 2011, so we got close there. Was in the top, so I was the top 13 out of 46 callers in the
Right.
nation.
Well, that's pretty good.
So yeah, it's nothing to hold your head down about, I guess.
No. Now, some of the reasons that you practice, I know your family has something to do with all this business, and Kaylee helps you with this, but somebody helps you practice all the time.
Yeah, my son is autistic.
Yes.
And when I started fooling with this, when I was getting into the competition stuff back in 2008, a buddy of mine did this stuff hardcore. He's
Right.
still a good friend of mine. He's the one that kind of got me started. So he was telling me, I had the calls in my back pocket or in the glove box. He's like, man, you got to put them in the refrigerator. Keep them fresh. Keep the reeds in them. Keep them separated. Put them in something. Well, I'd get them out and be practicing. One of the routines was to video yourself and then go back and watch it.
And listen to it.
Listen to yourself. You're your best critic. It got to where I was coming home. My son would meet me. As soon as he'd see me pull in, he'd already be in the refrigerator getting the calls out. So this was my excuse to wear them out. I couldn't run out of the house because I was entertaining Jacob as we went along. So that helps. That was a big plus. And to this day, when he's on YouTube, he spends a lot of time YouTubing stuff, watching chainsaws or 4-wheelers. But he's on turkey calling competitions and owl hooting competitions. He loves it. Whether it's duck calling or this or that, he loves listening to it. So.
That's awesome. That gives you a reason to do it. Plus, he's helping you practice.
Correct.
And then hopefully he gives you a funny look, though, when you're not doing it right.
Yeah, he knows the difference. He'll pick out the ones he likes and the ones he don't. So
Right.
He'll pick out the color of the call he wants to hear, and he knows what I'm going to do with each call.
Yeah.
So it pays.
Now, how many different places are these actually sold? I know you're not just here locally.
No, I'm on the internet. Of course, you can get it there. You got to be on the World Wide Web nowadays.
Oh, yes.
But in Carrollton, Kentucky, Glauber Sporting Goods is selling them. In North Vernon, Indiana, John's Gun Shop, Bait and Guns got them. Sligo, Kentucky, John Stewart's got a gun shop out there. John's Guns and Collectibles.
Right.
Savannah, Tennessee, there's a place down there called the Bow Shack. The connection to Savannah, I don't know how good you can see this, and this is one of the things that's benefited, or one of the benefits or pluses to this.
St. Jude's Children's.
I got in touch with people at these competitions, and this will be the 4th year we go down and participate in this St. Jude's hunt. It's an awesome experience. It's a chance to give a little something back.
Now, you actually take kids hunting when you go down there.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the coolest part about it. I think if the more we can get kids involved in an activity outside of the couch.
Yeah,
I just
which is
think-
hard anymore. It's
Yeah.
different than when we was kids than it is nowadays.
That's all we did. We
Yeah.
were outside all the time, but now kids are inside. But I think
Yeah.
if you can get them outdoors, it would just be awesome. You know, at the filming that we did with Tim Beck, he said if you could introduce one child to hunting or fishing or boating or whatever, just think how many kids would be outside after you did that.
Yep, and that's a big part, and one of the big things that I enjoy the most about doing this is first-time hunters. or kids. I go
I think
along
it's awesome.
to a lot of the local chapters, NWTF chapters have
Right.
banquets, and they do youth days, and they do
Yes.
stuff, and I've done seminars, or actually participated and took a lot of kids hunting, and we do a lot of videoing, and mainly for ourselves. But in that case, you take a kid out and the kid kills its first turkey.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can give them a copy of that video when they got it from now on.
Right.
So that's something special too to be involved in, and it's neat that the doors that have opened just from doing this little bit of stuff that I'm doing here at the house.
The people that you meet and the friends that you make.
all over the country. It's awesome. There's good people out there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, there is. And then you also have a Facebook page,
Yes.
so they can actually look you up on Facebook, which is Brent Leach.
Yep.
And then you, of course, have the different businesses.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And the links to and then the Ridgetop Custom Turkey Calls. They got its
Right.
on the web page. I run all the calls and give a little sound file with it to give them an idea of what they're getting. And people have contacted me on as far as the mouth calls part. This is where the custom calls come into play. If I don't have something they like running,
Right.
a different style. I don't sell a cutter call, for instance. I can't run one very good. Don't do me much good to sell it if I can't make it sound good. A lot of people love them. I can make whatever they tell me what they're used to running. I can make it. We can figure it out. Excuse me. Go back and forth and we'll get it right.
Right, right. Well, that's just awesome. Well, you all need to make sure you check this out. Brent Leach and his family are doing an awesome job with these turkey calls. And so I just think it's really cool. If you could go by and check them out, see if they want to take them with you, go out in the woods, see how they work, take a kid with you. And by all means, remember to leave where you are, wherever you're hunting, better than what you found it so that everybody can go back again.
Yeah, good
So,
point. Good
yeah,
point.
a lot of people forget to.
Yeah.
That gum
point.
wrapper doesn't need to be in the pasture with the cows,
Yeah.
so make sure you take it back with you. This is Debbie Crawford with Southern Outdoors. Thanks for watching.